Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago and across the globe. Welcome to Real Talk Corner. Hadassa, how are you?
Hi, I am fine, thank you. How are you, Esther?
Well, good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and all of my wonderful viewers across the globe. This is Real Talk Corner, and I'm yours truly, Dr. Esther Cruickshank, and I'm so happy and elated because my co-host is here with me on this beautiful Tuesday evening. It's the third day in the month of March. Yes, last week it was February, and now we are in March 2026. What a wonderful day it has been, and so many interesting things for us to talk about tonight. And, I feel good. I know some people are not feeling good about the SOE, but I'm happy because, so much has been happening. We have a lot for you today. So take this time to share the live, call a friend, a family member, tell them Real Talk is on, the two ladies that you all enjoy. Yes, we're here tonight and we're going to share. Hadassa, my dear, how are you doing? How was your day?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. I hope everybody's doing well, everybody's safe, everybody's healthy. My day is still going, actually. I still have a lot of balls in the air, but God's grace is sufficient, and it's good to be on another episode. Esther, how are you doing?
Not too long actually get inside, but I've had a full day from this morning very early, and a lot, the traffic, everything. It's been a lot, but just like you say, God's grace is sufficient, and I keep my mind on Him. The scripture said, if you keep your mind on Him, you're going to have His peace, right? So in the midst of everything that has been going on over the past couple of weeks, from the beginning of the year. And Hadassa, can't you believe we are already in the month of March? Come on, we just celebrated Christmas, New Year's, and here we are,
It's not.
Carnival finished and gone, and now we in March getting ready. I think most people are getting ready for Easter. I think we have Shouter Baptist holiday. We have a number of things that holidays are coming up to the end of the month, and it's going to fly. Trinidad and Tobago and all my viewers, I hope you all had a wonderful day, and I hope you're not allowing things to get the better of you. Just remember, in the mix of everything, you need to stay focused. You need to take care of your health, take care of yourself, your environment, okay? Remember to show love to each other, but we're going to talk tonight. Well, of course, most of us would have awakened to the news of an SOE, and of course, it has been sending waves into the opposition camp. And I want to say this evening, listen, the prime minister have to do what has to be done. If people have an issue, and I hear somebody say, are we going to have SOE for the whole 5 years? If that is what is needed to keep the citizens, the law-abiding citizens safe, then we're going to do it, because it really does not keep us from doing what we have to do. It's a special SOE. As far as I'm aware, the SOE that completed at the end of January, were we not able to celebrate Christmas? Were we not able to do things that we wanted to do? This SOE is for the criminal-minded ones, for those who are making the law-abiding citizen uncomfortable. Within the last week or so, so much murders is as though, yes, I know all that was said and was said by the prime minister and was said by this one, but we need to be safe. And the prime minister's modus operandi is to ensure that the law-abiding citizens are safe and feeling safe wherever they go. So I don't understand what is the problem. Yes, they want to bring back from years ago what was said and what the opposition leader at that time said. Listen, we are living in the now, and we need to be safe. We need to be secure, and it is the prerogative of our prime minister to ensure that we are safe. And she will do whatever it takes to ensure that the law-abiding citizens, even those who are losing their life, may not lose their life because of the SOE. And Hadassa, what do you say?
I say, if we need an SOE, we should have one. The thing about it is, I don't understand why so many people are bothered by it, because it would only bother you if you are a criminal. Is everybody criminals? No, that is not the case. And the thing about it is, it's not a restrictive SOE. It's not like when the PNM made it so onerous and difficult, with curfews and things like that. It's not like that. Your movement is not restricted. Your time is not restricted. You still have your day to yourself, and you can get everything that you need to get done, while you can have confidence that an SOE is in place that is making sure that the criminal elements are not terrorizing us. And I'm so glad that the Prime Minister said that she's not afraid and she's not backing down. And she made good on her word and her promise that the criminal element will not be allowed to run roughshod in this country and terrorize law abiding citizens, right? And I am all for it. The thing about it is, people are saying, oh, it's a lack of a plan. No, it's not. It is a lack of willingness to allow criminal elements to do as they want, to do as they like, and whatnot. And the SOE was lifted. And just like bad behaved children, as soon as it was lifted, people started to show their hand again. So we're like, okay, not a problem. We put in a timeout again. It's not a problem. That's how you deal with unruly children in school. You put them in a corner, you give them a timeout. The SOE is simply a timeout. That's how I see it, right? And it would allow the police to have certain powers to get certain things done. But if you are not walking on the other side of the law, if you are not a criminal, if you are not doing illicit behavior and activities, then it does not concern you. It does not bother you, and you don't have to worry. And I, for one, relish feeling like I'm in a safer country. I for one am very happy that we have a prime minister who is not going to just throw her hands up in the air and say, well, crime is up again because we can't keep the citizens under an SOE forever. No, we are not accepting this. We are not going back to how it used to be. I used to live literally in fear, right? The country had gotten so bad under the PNM, and they seemed so happy and so willing to just let it decay and to go down in shambles. And Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Bisesa says no. And if she has to stand between us and the criminals, I mean, God bless that woman. That is what she has to do, and I fully support her and I fully endorse it.
Totally agree. I totally agree with you. Adasa, it feels many of the time that the opposition leader, now the PNM leadership, they love the criminal activities. They love to hear people are being murdered and killed. The PNM, the opposition, the propaganda national party, seems to love the fact that we have murders. They're happy about it. And now that the Prime Minister called the SOE, they are displeased. We shouldn't have that. They are not concerned about the citizens' safety and well-being. They're just concerned about they could say some foolishness and some people run with it and start to talk a pack of nonsense. You know why? It is the PNM leadership that have all these criminal activities taking place. You remember when the child parents in Couva got killed. A gunman run up and killed them. They were talking about the very Zoso that plenty of them was against. And I understand they had their problems with it. But they were hoping now that that should have been something that was happening. These people, they need a revival in their heart, in their mind, in their soul, in their spirit, whatever, because they don't know what they want. And I am happy that our Prime Minister, she stands with her conviction and she's going to do what she has to do to ensure that our country, our citizens are safe. And I stand 150% with her and the decision that she's making to ensure that the people, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago are safe, that they are not living in fear and with anxiety, people getting heart attacks, whatever, because they wasn't feeling safe, right? So as she saw things started to go upside down, she decided she's going to have a SOE. And she did say it before. She said, if you all don't be yourself, I am going to deal with you all. And she is doing it, and we stand with her. There is nothing that the opposition could do more than just talk. And let them keep on braying, let them keep on braying, because they didn't have a solution. And our prime minister have a plan. They may think she doesn't have a plan. I tell you all, she's the brightest woman I've ever come across in the Caribbean. They don't know what they're dealing with. Our prime minister is not making joke this time. And I am happy about that. I'm really happy about that. So they could say whatever they want. Yeah? They could say whatever they want. We are not going to say, well, the prime minister shouldn't have a. No, we want to feel safe. And if this is what's going to make citizens feel safe, then we are standing with her and her team. They could say whatever they want because they have security, they have whatever they have, and they don't care, you know. They really don't care. Citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, the citizens who have the right thinking, don't have no foolishness in their head, who want to be safe, who want to live, who want to, feel comfortable. I know they would support this because it's not taking away our privilege. It is not taking away anything from us more than we are going to be much more safer than we were under the PNM.
We just remind everybody the so bill went to the Senate, and they seemed very happy to vote against it. And what we are witnessing with the surge of crime that we had last week, that is a consequence of the things that actually happen in that house, that actually happens in Parliament. And Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar has said, okay, this has failed, but I'm going to make sure that I make use of every tool that is at my disposal. At my disposal, the SOE is simply a tool for us to use against crime. And let us remember also that crime is not who we are, it's not what we are, it is a symptom of generations being left behind, of students falling through the cracks, of no opportunities that the PNM was very happy to govern over. And we now have a UNC government that is in place that has to now put things in place to ensure that we can see a reversal of this type of behavior, to make sure that when students graduate from college that they have a job to go to, and that communities are safer, and that we secure our borders so that there is not an influx of drugs and guns and things like that. It is going to take time for us to undo the madness of the last 10 years and all the 50 something years that the PNM held power, right? So we need to support our prime minister using the tools that are at her disposal to make sure that we are safe. And I, for one, I'm happy that she's doing it.
Definitely. I am happy, totally happy that she is here. You know, as you said that, the PNM has been in power for all these decades of years. And it is because of them that we are in the position are in. And they have no shame. They come up there, and I don't care what they would have done. For the masses of time that they have been there, they have disrupted this country. I mean, think about it. In the earlys, we had the train, they destroyed. Any developing country that had a train, would you think they would think about destroying it? We had everything that has been taken away from us as a people. It was under the PNM. Everything that would have worked for us. There were never any maintenance. Everything. We had so much things that was going for this country. The cane, the sugar, the rice, everything was dismantled and destroyed. And you know what? We have to import everything. Import everything. We import in our life as well. You understand? Everything the PNM has bring to North. And it's time that, these people sit down, shut up, listen, learn, and they would not pay attention. Penniless stood up to talk today, and I'm like, she's not for real as a woman. What she does get chained up with, I really don't know. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's only a matter of time before people really see, because the prime minister before in 2010 to 2015, people who couldn't see that the change took place and it was for better for this country under her reign, something is wrong with them. And we came and we meet this country in a state again. Everything is upside down, Hadassa. And she is fixing it. And so much has happened within the last 10 months, going on 11 months, under our Prime Minister and her team. And it's just that people are ungrateful. And it's only a few, it's only a few who supports the PNM. Right? You might have one or two who say they support the UNC and they're falling apart because this isn't happening. And most of them is because they're all about themselves. They have their own agenda and they're not about country. They're not about the people who needs help. But I am saying tonight, I support the Prime Minister as far as I can see, and people could say what they want. Since she has been the Prime Minister, all she has been doing is for the citizens of this country. She means well. And I'm not going to say that everybody on her team is doing the right thing, but she's not going to leave a stone unturned. She's going to ensure that even those who are not doing right, she's going to pull them up. She's going to talk to them as a family. If one of your children is not doing something right, are you just going to throw them outside, tell them don't come back? You will talk to them. You will talk to them. You will correct them. You will chastise them until if they're not listening at all, then you will make a decision to tell them, listen, I don't want you in my place. Get out of my house. If you feel there's a man or a woman, go and turn your own key somewhere else. And I know she has the ability. I have spoken to her. I talked to her. I met her face to face more than once. That woman, let me tell you, she loved Trinidad and Tobago. She loved the citizens of this country. She loved our children. She loved our senior citizens. And she wants what is best for all of us. She is not a heartless person. She have a heart of a real mother. She have a heart after God. She intends for Trinidad to become that place where every citizen, every creed and race will find an equal place. That is her heart desire. And I know that that is going to happen sometime along this 5 years that we have. It is going to happen because she insists in making this country a better place for all of us.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I think people forget that a lot has already happened there. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm remembering that uh, persons who with disabilities who needed to be fitted for artificial limbs. That has happened. There are so many things that if you don't like take note of it, it would slip by and you would not even know. There's a lot of progress that is taking place, a lot of small things that are happening. When you are cleaning a house that is in a mess, right? You don't see the change of you toiling away happening overnight. But when you keep on and keep on and keep on, it's like, hey, look, I can see my floor. And then you realize you can see sunlight coming through the window. It is a slow and it is an arduous process. And I'm very glad that Kamala Prasad has volunteered herself for the job because it is not an easy job. And there are a lot of naysayers and there are a lot of people who want her to fail, but she will not fail because she has great vision and she has such calm confidence in herself and in God. I know that it will work. I already feel better about where we are as a country. There's always good news that is happening. She has the air of the United States. Not a lot of countries have that privilege at this particular time in geopolitics and things like that. There are a lot of things that we have that are working for us. There are a lot of people who came and said we had the best carnival, it was the safest carnival. It's a lot of things that we have to be cognizant of that is actually happening behind the scenes. And it's just for us to have faith. Sorry,
We
back to you,
have to
Esther.
have faith. And I always say, she will always say, put God in front and walk behind. And some people don't like to hear that, yeah? But we need to put God in front because He is the one to direct our path. We need to put our trust in Him so He would lead us and guide us. But not only that, she has great plans for this country. I cannot stress enough. Some of us may not understand it, we will not understand it now. But down the road, we would look back and say, yes, this woman knew what she was about. She has a great legacy that she's going to leave. Her name will be mentioned years after she have gone off out of this land, whenever that time is going to come. But for now, we will abide with what she is saying, with what she's doing. We would stand with her because there is nothing, I have never heard this woman, who is our prime minister, say anything negative. You know, like when the PNM came into power in 2015, the first thing you heard the prime minister saying is ban your belly and eat provision, go get provision. Then you hear others talk about you may not be able to eat macaroni pie and callaloo, what they wanted you to do. I've never heard her say that. There was always, when they asked her, things is going to happen. She's going to find the money. It's going to fix. She's not a negative person. She never condemned any of her citizens here in this country. Whatever she did, even with the Venezuela situation when it was happening, she was never afraid. She told the citizens, do not be afraid. Do not fear. Kamala is here. All those things. But she meant it because she knew she was not in the wrong and she knew what she was doing was, was the right thing for the citizens. She stood for them, and we are standing with her. And they could say whatever they want. I don't business about what the opposition would say because they have been here for a decade. And before that, they have been here. What have they really done? They say all manner, they try to talk about race. They try to talk about all things to get people hype and to try to have protests and all of this. But I want to remind the African community because the PNM always make us feel that they are here for us. But under the PNM, the African community suffer the most. So they, and listen, the other communities are the one who benefit under the PNM, not the African. And we are the ones who say we're going and vote for them because the Indian government don't care about us. We'll only need to start thinking different. Because when it comes to our prime minister now, who is of Indian descent, she is concerned about everybody, not just the Indian like herself. She's concerned about everybody. Once you are a law-abiding citizen, she is concerned about you. So they could say whatever they want. That doesn't matter. You all need to put two and two together and pay attention.
Indeed. I saw Naya Gatsby Dolly talking a certain nonsense the other day, asking the Minister of Education, where is this and where is that? And I'm like, isn't she embarrassed? She's not embarrassed. She was the worst education minister that this country has ever seen. And she has overseen so much um, dereliction and so much failure in the education ministry. But anyway, I wanted to point to some positive news where that is concerned. So, Finance Minister Mr. Tanku has officially promised that teachers' well deserved revised salaries and outstanding back pay will finally be settled by March 31st, 2026. So, after months of patiently waiting for that 5% wage increase, they probably would have get more if they had waited for anti-cams. This 730 million arrears payout is a massive, long overdue victory for educators. So that's good news on the horizon, and I really wanted to point that out because um, there's a lot of back and forth and struggle between our administration and tutor. I don't know if you could almost say that tutor is almost like, I don't know if they represent PNM or whatnot, but this is a good thing for teachers, and it continues to prove that regardless of who she is serving, Kamala Pasabi Sessa is determined to do right by public servants, by teachers, by everybody. And she promised that they would get this back pay and they are going to get it. And that is a good thing because I always feel like some of the people who really need to be properly and well compensated are teachers. Society have a way of kind of being topsy turvy and upside down. You find people in the entertainment industry and movie stars and whatnot making a lot of money. But the people who are the backbone of society, who carry our children through school and things like that, they really need to be propped up. And also, as well, I saw Ravi Ratiram fighting on behalf of farmers to make sure that there's no pay cut for them. So I just wanted to highlight those two things because I do not recall, and I really want to be fair, but I don't recall a government coming to the aid and the assistance and coming to meet people where they have needs the way that this administration has. I always used to feel so alone, so like a dinghy in the middle of the ocean, battered by waves, feeling completely alone under PNM because they did not care. But this is an administration that cares, and it's trickling down to everybody, every sector, every industry. So teachers are up for their share. Farmers are being helped, and I'm really happy to see these things. And the thing about it is, I am not a teacher. I am not a farmer. None of these things affect me at all, right? But I am so happy to be under an administration where people are winning. Under PNM, nobody won, right? And I know as a female, I am happy that I feel safer in my country, that I can have confidence again in a government. Those things matter to me. When you see um there's oh my gosh, the word is failing me now. Legislation, sorry, being passed about things that you mightn't care about. But when I see legislation that is passed for that takes care of animals, or that it addresses social services and people in domestic violence situations and things like that, those things matter because it means that we have somebody at the heart of it who cares, who really cares about human beings and humanity. Oh, I was just reminded as well by our producers. Another thing that I wanted to remind everybody of is that today, as well, the I have it in my notes here, the government's migration registration framework exercise begun. So we had thousands and thousands of immigrants, not just from Venezuela. This is an exercise to make everybody whole, not just from Venezuela, lined up today to yes, lined up today to get registered. And this is not being done in a haphazard way, the way PNM did it. These people are being registered, but they are also being fingerprinted. Background checks are taking place, and they have to be interviewed and vetted. So this is making sure that anybody who's going to be living within our borders are not going to be criminals, that they are not going to cause our citizens harm, that they are not going to be doing illicit activity, but they're going to be here and they're going to be contributing to building our society, and they are also going to have an opportunity to have a better life as well. So those were just some of the things I wanted to highlight, and it just speaks to the this government and the fact that they want everybody to win. Back to you, Esther.
Indeed, indeed, they want everybody to win. And I mean, they treat every human being as humans. And this is why I keep saying we are going to support our Prime Minister. We haven't had this, as far as I know. I was talking to a citizen from another country who have been here for more than 16 years, have children, get married here, and have not been able to get citizenship. Three beautiful children. The children are going to school because they were born here, okay? But both herself and her husband are not citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And they keep getting around, run around. Now, listen, I recall the days when you could have received your passport and all of that in 1 week's time, for the most 2 weeks. All of that has gone down the drain. You spoke about Minister Ravi Ratiram and others. When something happened, they go to the rescue of our citizens. Under the PNM, that situation in farming, you think the minister was going and try to get anything solved within that quick time frame? No, it would have gone on. They would have heard a certain negative, and nothing was going to happen. But people like Ravi Ratiram and all the others, Jolene John and all those, Kadisha, who works hard, when something happened, they run to the rescue of the people, to release the people from whatever trauma they may go through and that kind of stuff. But the previous government, they never cared. They would just say whatever, and you have to go through the motion with them, and they don't, and nothing would happen. You see, they talk about, I saw a clip where the former Minister of Health under the PNM, he's now under investigation. Man, and the media and stuff wouldn't take up on those things as they will take up on everything under this government. They wouldn't do it, right? But everything this government does, they always have a problem. They run in they don't mind if they fall down, tumbling down, to go and make a set of old noise and to put lies on top of it. But the previous government could have done whatever. They never run to the, what do I want to say, to the rescue of the people. So I want to say hats off to Minister Ravi Ratiram, because the farmers have always gone through hell in this country. And today we see that, he has intervened. I don't even think it took 48 hours, all right, when the statement was made. But this is what it is. And still the people are so ungrateful, right? They are so ungrateful. They wouldn't support us. They wouldn't support the UNC. They will still continue after they get all. I heard some people say they will still support the PNM and this. Even though they're not getting any justice, there are those who would support. So listen, here it is. Ex-health minister faces back probe over NIPDEC payment controversy. And these people are happy with whatever they did, and people are still happy with them. There are evidence. They used to want to say about the UNC thief and the UNC thief. But what is going on now? And this is just the beginning. We heard of CPEP, we heard of URP, and you're going to hear more and more and more and more. And they lie like nothing. But you know what? The people who they want to set up is not sticking or standing for their lies. They're going to let them have it, because they are the ones who are responsible. And I'm happy that the guy, when the question was asked, he didn't try to hold back, because I guess he tell himself, if I don't speak the truth, is my tail going to be under fire. So I am happy he did that. They did so much, and the people are not, understanding what had took place in this country. And this government under our prime minister is trying to make so much ends meet for our people. They can't do everything, but as things arise, they are going to fix it until things come into a place where they can do what is necessary, and nobody would be complaining. I shouldn't say that, because don't care what, you will have people
Yes,
who would
people always
complain.
complaining.
You would have people who would complain. Yeah? So that's the fact.
I mean, I think the media, they're going to hang themselves if they insist on continuing to do PNM's bidding and the PNM propaganda, because we all saw what happened with Newsday. Newsday went belly up. Now we also have to remember that when the prime minister came in to government in May, it would have been around the 1st of May or so, right? After the
Yes.
election. She said that she was pulling all funds for media and advertising and stuff like that. And a lot of these media houses forget that they also depend as well on the government to buy ads and stuff in their newspapers and whatnot to keep them afloat. But they insist on doing this kind of one-sided, unfair reporting, and I want to see how that's going to work out for them. I have no problem with somebody doing investigative journalism, going after the issues, asking the tough questions, but it is very unbalanced and it is very unfair, especially in the face of an administration that has shown that they have nothing to hide. They are being very open and very transparent. And in a very interesting turn, for example, Roger Alexander has come out and said that he is not going to be restricting the use of body cams and video footage from police officers and things like that, making sure that the public also can see everything that is happening, what the police officers are doing, making sure that they are behaving up to code and in accordance to their behavioral standards and things like that. And that is a very positive thing. And that came out of a lot of outcry and a lot of pushback from citizens. So it means that the government is willing to pivot and the government is willing to listen to citizens when they say certain things. And the media is not satisfied with that. They seem intent on wanting to bury the administration under every little thing. The things that they used to give the PNM a pass for, and I'm looking at all the unfairness that is taking place, and I'm like, okay, my mother's always say bam bam you go see him. But that was just a little observation that I had there.
It's so true. What you are saying is true. So, so, so true. What they let pass with the PNM, and even if they're trying to get, you recall when they were trying to get information, the former prime minister would buff them, insult them, you understand, walk off on
Both
them,
them.
ministers. Yeah, they couldn't get any kind of, address or redress, as the case may be, whatever. Now they want to talk. I heard Penny in her address this morning, talking her press conference, talking about where is the prime minister. The fact is, things is being done. She have ministers. She have the minister of national security, home security, and whatever. What you want to see the prime minister for? You in love with her? I recall when one of the minister in parliament talk about Zami and whatever. When I heard that, I started to laugh. I said, well, what happened? She wanted to Zami? What did you want with the prime minister? Leave our prime minister alone. You do what you have to do and say what you have to say. You recall that, right? I am saying the prime minister. She always want to know where the prime minister is. What happened? You're so in love with our prime minister.
But Esther, they're so backward. All their thinking so old and antiquated. Because what? Because Rowley used to be in front of a camera every minute. That means he was performing. No, Kamala Pasabi's Esther is behind the scenes and things are getting done. Not because we seeing you every Monday morning means that you doing work. That have nothing to do with it. We live in a different time. We live in an age of technology. What is wrong with these people?
Well, only Rowley wanted to be in front of the camera. They had loved to be in front of a camera for the world to see them. You
Yes, I
understand?
feel pretty.
Micromanaging.
Oh, so
They had to
pretty.
micromanage. They had to micromanage the
What
media,
do you want to
right?
see?
Because any other minister may say something that they don't want going out there. Our prime minister is not like that. She allowed the ministers for different ministries to go out there and speak, gain experience, learn how to speak. You understand? You may make, when you now start and you're not accustomed, you may make errors. You may say sometimes, you may say the wrong things. Our prime minister allows the ministers for the relevant issue to go there and speak. They would say, well, she's the chairman of national security. Yes, but you have ministers. So my thing is, when I heard it again today, I said, she's always asking, where's the prime minister? Where the prime minister have to answer. The prime minister have to this. Well, the prime minister does answer, and she does everything. She advises her ministers. They talk. They have their caucus. They do what has to be done. You love seeing my prime minister face. Yes, I know she's pretty. I know she's very charming. But hello, leave our prime minister alone. She's doing what has to be done. Not like you all wasteful people who ain't doing nothing, just like to go in front of a camera and talk. No, that is all your job. Go ahead and do it. Leave our prime minister to do what she's doing behind the scene. She is micromanaging. She's getting done what has to be done behind the scene, because there's a lot of garbage and a lot of work that you all left, a lot of things that she has to get turned over. So leave our prime minister alone. Leave her alone.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I remember some months ago, just to speak to the fact that she's getting things done very quietly behind the scenes. But a couple of months ago, there was a video circulating on Facebook of this van that pulled up to some area and was dumping old tires, right? And I saw on her Facebook page, she actually addressed it and she told the perpetrators, you better go and deal with that dump or I would have to deal with you. right? I mean, not as harshly as I am saying it, very diplomatically. And there was another video a couple days later where they had to go and remove their trash, right? And I was like, I have never even seen Keith Rowley turn his attention to anything like that. And I thought it was so admirable. It was so admirable because it felt like she was just like me. You understand? This is the things that you as a citizen is be concerned about, and sometimes you don't necessarily know what is the right authority or what's the right people that you need to turn to get answers. But as busy as she is, she made it a point to address that because it was disturbing citizens. It was distressing other people. And I really, really like that. The same way she addressed the issue of all these fetes that used to be happening in residential areas, and making it so that people who don't necessarily participate in carnival have a hard time because there's only pong in their head for days and days and days. And yet, still, look what happened. We had the best carnival ever. I'm sure nobody missed those venues. But this is what you have to do. You have to turn your attention to an issue and you actually have to address it for change to happen. And again, kudos, Madam Prime Minister.
Indeed. And let me say this, anything that our Prime Minister hears that is disturbing the citizens, that is creating, problems, she always run and address it. That noise pollution situation, is the first time in history because every carnival Monday for Juve, my house would be vibrating. All right? You would hear the noise. It's the first time there was nothing. I didn't even know. Okay? I didn't even know if there was Juve or no Juve. And I'm not even talking about where I'm living presently, another place that I normally would stay. That would be, as a matter of fact, it would be chaotic. I don't know if other
Yeah,
people would have experienced any noise on Carnival Monday for Juve, I guess, based on the route that some of them would be passing. But not only that, and I have to say, the flavor, that place, I mean, really, 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 really was a bomb. Everything was just exciting.
yes,
You understand?
yes,
So
yes,
she did, did,
yes,
did great. Everybody enjoyed themselves, and you didn't hear of too many casualties. I probably had one or two little simple things that people, not any killing. I probably think one person got stabbed or something and was killed to death, whatever. But it was nothing compared to what we have had in the past. So I was really happy
yeah,
about that. And,
me too.
it is what it is. She's working on behalf of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and that is what we want. That is what we have voted this government in for, and that is what we're going to get. She is not going to allow us to suffer once she has her way, herself and her team, and she have a lot of hardworking ministers with her. So I am grateful for that, and I'm thankful for that. And we want to really accept the SOE because it's going to work. I am asking citizens, those who are, you know, straight minded or understand how this thing works, to relax yourself. At the end of the day, the Prime Minister and Minister of National Security and whatever has to do what they have to do to ensure that citizens are safe, right? The families who have lost loved ones, I'm sure they are happy about it because, they're saying if the SOE was there or the ZOSO was there, maybe this would not have happened. I don't know whether or not, but what I'm saying, our Prime Minister insists on ensuring that the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago are safe and can feel safe, not just safe, you want to feel safe before you are actually safe. And I give her, 200% support on wanting to ensure that the citizens are safe, the citizens are happier, the citizens can buy food, the citizens can live in harmony. You don't have to stress yourself, you don't have to kill yourself. Things are working in our favor as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. So, the time has fly. It's after 9:15. I don't know what else Hadassa would like to say. I just want to say to the citizens, please have patience. Please have patience, work along with us. We see people starting back to clean compounds and clean the roadside. So that program that has been started under the Minister of Kadisha and her ministry, we're seeing that people are starting back to get jobs. I know it is still difficult for a lot. There are some young men that, they're really crying out to get something who was under the CPEP. Just wait. Find something in the meantime. There's many things that you all can do in the meantime, but just know when you get through with something, it's going to be something good. It wouldn't be 2 weeks in and 2 weeks out. It's going to be something substantial. So have faith. Our Prime Minister would say that to us, individually. Have faith. Have faith in God. Have faith in what she is doing for our country, and just relax. Things is going to change. We had it worse when she was out of power in 2015, 2016, 2017. It was terrible, if you all can recall. You know what? A lot of us have short span memory. We just forget what we went through under the PNM, but don't forget what you went through under the PNM. All right? Don't forget that. And know if they were to ever come back in power, we'll be going down that same road. So let's continue to have faith. Let us continue to be strong and stand with this government, because better days are coming. Yeah.
Indeed. Speaking of better days, just one more piece of good news. I call it more wins. Following a closed door meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Prime Minister Kamala Possessor announced a major breakthrough for the refinery restart. Secretary Rubio has committed to connecting Trinidad and Tobago directly with the U.S. Department of Energy to help identify the best partner for reopening. So that is a massive win. It's not only that too, but the Americans just move fast to do everything. So I work for a US company. I know what it's like. They're very, very efficient. So this is really, really good news. And that's why I said I think she has made a very smart and strategic alliance where that is concerned. And I just want to say congratulations again to her for another win. I just like enjoying watching her dog walk and school all these old politicians, right? Who always have something to say, yam, 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 yam. But they were very ineffective when they were in government. This is how you run a country.
That's right. Indeed. That's and this is why I keep saying this is my slogan. The opposition need to shut up, sit down, listen, and learn, because they were there and they did nothing constructive for the masses of the people. It's just a handful of people would have benefited from whatever they were doing. When this government came into power, everything, nearly every ministry, everywhere you turn was chaotic. As a matter of fact, under the PNM, I didn't even want to be in this country. And while I was here, it was so difficult to get anything done. So I am grateful and thankful to God and for this government that was elected to make the change in our economy and in our nation. And I think, like I said, better days are going to be coming. It's ahead of us, and we can see it. Those of us who have eyes to see and ears to hear, let us see and let us hear. Let us be patient and let us work together so that we can have a better Trinidad and Tobago in the future. It cannot happen overnight, but it's happening. A lot has happened. And as we approach the 1 year, we're going to be hearing how much has been done from the inception of the beginning of our term. It was in May, the first or the second, somewhere around there. So I am so grateful and thankful, and I'm encouraging persons, rest assured, even if you support the PNM, you too are going to benefit, because when UNC win, everybody wins. With that, I want to say have a wonderful night, have a great week ahead, and until Sunday, when I'm going to be back on a different frequency, a different level, or whatever you want to say, where I'll be talking kingdom, not politics. Sometimes politics may come in, because in the kingdom, you have a little bit of politics too, right? But have a wonderful week, people. We love you. Stay blessed. Put God in front. Pray. Let us pray for our Prime Minister and for her team of ministers that they're going to continue to do what is right for us as citizens. Goodbye.